Hello my dear friends, and welcome back to another video. So we haven't spoken too much about the Bad Batch ever since the second season came to an end. The spotlight was stolen by the last few episodes of The Mandalorian Season 3, then everyone was hyped about the Ahsoka trailer, Jedi Survivor, and other announcements. But we did learn at Star Wars Celebration that the third season of the Bad Batch is going to be the last one, and to everyone's surprise, they even showed us some footage, mostly from Mount Tantiss, following the Season 2 finale where Omega was captured by Dr. Hemlock and learned that she's got a sister. But in either case, this showed us that work for Season 3 has been going on a while. They may have worked on a couple of episodes, enough to have footage for Celebration alongside Season 2's last couple of episodes. Some very early work for Season 3 already started, but regardless, there was just enough to demonstrate that a bit of animating had been done, as well as a few bits of finished voice work for that teaser, and probably one or two early episodes of the Bad Batch Season 3. But there was a break, and now they're back to it. Michelle Ang, who voices Omega, has confirmed that voiceover has officially started for the rest of Season 3, and they're on track for release date sometime in 2024, which is what Jennifer Corbett confirmed. I think fans are both super excited but nervous for the third season. I've seen a few people say, this season is going to be pain. We've already lost Tech, or so it seems, during Plan 99. Is this the season where the other members get killed off? All except for Omega. I still hold on to the theory that she is going to come into live action eventually, but are Wrecker, Hunter, and Echo going to survive? And more than anything, what becomes of Crosshair inside Mount Tantiss? We know from the trailer shown at Celebration, and big spoiler warning, Omega's going to try break him out, but he doesn't want to go. He speaks the most harrowing line, "I am not them." He seems to be a guinea pig for the early Empire's Dark Trooper program, where he's gonna lose his autonomy. The scientist Emery Carr is also very important because she's biologically related to Omega in some way. Is she another clone? Some fans have speculated she might just be Jango Fett's daughter in canon. Not necessarily a clone, but I think it is gonna go down the cloning route. And there are two very tragic things if the other members of the Bad Batch do get killed off. For one thing, Omega's going to be grieving and traumatized for life. She's already come such a long way in the first two seasons and learned the galaxy is not a forgiving place. Just think back to what Hunter told the Wookiee tribeswoman. These kids, talking about Gungi and Omega, never really get to be free as children, never get to live a life of innocence. Instead, they're thrown into war and conflict. And second of all, Captain Rex, who survives through to Star Wars Rebels and beyond, is going to have to watch his brothers die as well. Remember in Star Wars Rebels he says, "We already tried that once," speaking about the clones rebelling against the Empire. Is there a clone uprising coming? Are Clone Force 99 going to be part of that? Sacrifice themselves? And that's the reason they're not in later stories. I always think back to what Hunter said to Echo on Pabu. I think his words were foreshadowing that despite the righteous fight, you can't win. But helping other clones defect and fighting the good fight is what gives Echo purpose. Now, staying on the subject of heart-wrenching Bad Batch updates, D. Bradley Baker, the voice of the clones, was asked to give a final goodbye for Tech in Tech's voice. This was heartbreaking. Check it out.
Well, a soldier's life is fulfilled by fulfilling the mission and supporting his brothers. And this was the end of mine. And that's a good thing.
Being there for your brothers, he sacrificed himself for them, and despite some fan theories claiming that Tech survived and we're gonna see him again, I'm starting to lose my optimism on this front. I do think Tech is gone for good. His sacrifice was meaningful, it was potent, one of the most meaningful episodes of the entire show, and I think it'd have a reverse effect if they were to undo it. To have meaningful consequences is a very important part of storytelling, especially in a show like this, in one of the most dangerous periods of the galaxy that we knew would eventually always be tragic. And it does in some ways go back to a complaint that a lot of Star Wars fans have. The franchise has a problem with bringing back dead characters. Sometimes it's good and actually works, like Maul returning after the Phantom Menace, which was arguably masterfully executed in the Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels, but sometimes it undermines a powerful message or moment in a show. And I get it, fans were heartbroken by Tech's sacrifice to save his squad, but no matter how painful it is, I think Tech should stay dead. It doesn't make sense for him to survive. It would cheapen the narrative. In what seemed to have been the standard blaster-blazing but low-stakes adventure, Tech was gonna datapad magic his squad to safety, and the mission a success, but that's not what happened. Slowly and tensely, the odds became harder and harder as the batch is trapped and surrounded. The hope of surviving died very slowly, and we knew someone might not make it, and Tech was that someone who sacrificed himself so others could survive. And that is what soldiers do, reiterated by D. Bradley Baker. I want the other members to use his sacrifice meaningfully, to remember what he did, everything he sacrificed, and to fight in his name for the legacy of all their brothers lost. but particularly tech. And so now, my dear friends, there has been a surprising amount of Andor Season 2 news over the last couple of weeks, and this continues today as Genevieve O'Reilly Mon Mothma has teased a devastating storyline for Season 2. After an incredible debut season, the anticipation for Andor Season 2 is high. Cassian Andor himself, Diego Luna, said they're working really hard to bring an even better Season 2 to the world. And Tony Gilroy said it's going to be very different, revolving around different people, different themes, and for Mon Mothma, learning how to be a leader and how difficult it is to put the Alliance together at this stage. But in a new interview with the Playlist, Mon Mothma actress Genevieve O'Reilly said the second season might be very sad. In the first, Mon Mothma faced a number of difficult decisions, one of which involved marrying off her daughter Leader to Davos Golden's son, a decision she despised. But when asked about a story in the second season, this is what she said. "No, I think that's probably a wise guess there. And you're right, we already know where we're going so you can fill it in. I promise you it'll be more dangerous, and more emotional, and more heartbreaking, and more devastating than even I thought it would be." The Star Wars actress also reflected on the fact that each story in Andor is going to revolve around sacrifice. She says, "But I do think that the speech you're talking about in episode 8, I think it speaks to the heart of the whole piece, and the storytelling in this is so parallel. There are so many stories running parallel to each other in a linear fashion, and each of them at the heart is about sacrifice." The Rogue One star then pointed out how heartbreaking and, quote, mind-blowing Mon Mothma's sacrifice really is. She says, "And for Mon Mothma, the idea that this woman, this brilliant woman, could even entertain the idea of sacrificing her daughter for the rebellion is heartbreaking and mind-blowing, and in a way, it's hard to say this out loud, but deeply noble. How much more important are the freedoms of everyone around you than the one? You sacrifice the one for the many. Is that her ethos? Does she believe in it so much that she's gonna set fire to her life?" So this, my dear Mandalorians, is the big question. What is she gonna prioritize? The rebellion or her family? We know the answer, the former. She gives up everything, her Senate seat, her family, her livelihood, all in the name of rebellion. And she finally notes, the original Mon Mothma in Return of the Jedi, played by Carolyn Blakeston, has an underlying sadness. Andor Season 2 earlier in the timeline is going to show us why. As I say, she gave up everything. So share your thoughts in the comments down below, guys. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one. May the Force be with you always.